Hey, what's up everyone? Today we are going to discuss the ending and mid-credit scenes of the Marvels Avengers campaign storyline. There will be massive spoilers all throughout this video, so please hold off on watching until you finish the story. We'll also discuss data mines and some of what we know about post-launch DLC, since the ending of this game is only the beginning and the story will continue to advance throughout the next few years via DLC characters. The first two of which have been announced to be Kate Bishop and Clint Barton Hawkeye. I have a separate video discussing them in more detail, so I'll have that video linked in the description. But anyway, let's discuss the ending of Marvel's Avengers. During the climax of the story, Modoc uses his machine mind control powers to puppeteer an ancient Kree sentry that he located. We'll discuss the Kree sentry in much more detail shortly, but for now let's focus on Modoc. I don't recall if the game explicitly mentions why he decides to call himself Modoc instead of George, but it is basically signifying George's mental and physical transformation into a whole new persona, Modoc. In the comics, the name Modoc is originally an acronym for Mobile Organism Designed Only for Computing, but later, Modoc changes it to Mobile Organism Designed Only for Killing. His mindset seems to be pretty similar here, but directed primarily at superpowered individuals. In the game, George never liked the superheroes, but worked with them as a means to an end to build the Terrigen reactor. This of course ended catastrophically and created more of the things he hates most, more superpowers. Even worse, he became one himself. He even states that he will rid the world of superpowers, even if it has to end with him.
I will rid the Earth of superpowers. Even if it has to end with me.
But George didn't fully do this to himself, and was instead also manipulated by Monica Rappaccini. Throughout the story of Avengers, Monica states that she will fix him using her regen formula. Unbeknownst to George, her regen formula is actually Captain America's blood, since she's been secretly holding Cap in space for experimentation.
Captain Rogers, don't leave us just yet.
Monica! Long time no see. Can't imagine your buddy Tarleton was too thrilled about using superhero blood to replace superheroes.
He leaves the details to me. Stop what you're doing. Now.
Wait a minute. Georgie doesn't know about any of this.
And he never will.
When George finds out, it doesn't go well.
Make me one of them!
I made you strong.
You stole my hope. And now, I am going to give you the same odds that I had.
After Monica is injected by Modoc, we don't see her until the post-credit scene. This scene shows that Monica is in fact alive and she is now the CEO and Scientist Supreme of AIM, which is the top position in AIM. The Scientist Supreme is someone with an extraordinary scientific mind, something we've seen Monica display throughout the game. This position is often equated to the Sorcerer Supreme position that Doctor Strange holds. We also get to hear some of Monica's plans for the future. The two she mentions are cloning and time travel.
From cloning to time travel.
The cloning is already in the game since we'll later fight some Taskmaster and Abomination clones in war zones. But more importantly, we see Monica has already made clones of herself. Which leads us into the next question of how Monica survived her final encounter with Modoc, and I think I have the answer. In Monica's mid-credit scene, we first get a close-up of one of her clone's eyes. We can see they are two different colors. At the end of this scene, we can see Monica's eyes are both the same color. I think this is a clue as to how she survived Modoc's injection. Throughout that scene, we can see that her eyes are two different colors, especially during a very brief close-up shot. I take this to mean that Modoc actually injected a clone instead of the real Monica. My theory is that once Cap was recovered, Monica probably knew that her secrets were out in the open and that Modoc would find them out, so she made sure to send in a clone in case Modoc tried to hurt her. There is even an intelligence file that lets us know she suspects this outcome.
It's also becoming difficult to keep George unaware of the regenerative formula's importance in our research, or in his own treatment. Without it, his condition would be terminal. But the formula allows me to direct the course of his transformation, and he remains my most important subject. He would kill me if he learned the truth.
So we'll definitely have to pay closer attention to Monica's eyes throughout the rest of the game. With so many potential Monicas working together, this will most definitely lead to more nefarious plots by AIM, which brings us to her next plan, time travel. This seems to be the driving force behind the first two DLC stories at least. From last month's War Table, we learned that Maria Hill opens SHIELD Substation Zero as a hidden base after temporal anomalies start to emerge. Temporal anomalies meaning some sort of disruption in the time stream. The title of Clint Barton's storyline also references time since it is called Future Imperfect. The Future Imperfect title could be in reference to the Hulk comic of the same name, where Hulk enters a dystopian future ruled by an evil version of himself called Maestro Hulk. Not that the DLC will involve the Maestro Hulk storyline necessarily, but it could be suggesting that the game will take us to a dystopian future of its own. Along with this, Kate Bishop mentions that her and Clint stumbled upon a tachyon project. Tachyons are hypothetical particles that travel at the speed of light. This tachyon project is likely tied to the temporal anomalies. All that to say, Monica definitely has a lot planned for the future of AIM, and we will likely be dealing with AIM schemes for some time. But let's take a step back and look at the fate of Modoc. After Kamala impales the Kree sentry onto this bridge, we can see Modoc slip out of its head and fall into the water. This suggests that Modoc has not been captured and will be considered missing for a while. This also leaves the door open for his inevitable return sometime down the road. It's unclear how long it will be before we see Modoc again, but I would suspect that he will be scheming against us the entire time and come back in a major way. Okay, so let's now talk about the Kree sentry because I think his post-credit scene is the most intriguing. Let's first take a moment and describe the origin of the Kree sentry in the comics. There are many Kree sentries in existence, or at least there used to be. Thor even seems familiar with them during this cutscene.
Sentry.
The Kree Empire built them for their military purposes thousands of years ago, so Kree sentries are very ancient. We should also briefly discuss the Kree. The Kree are an extraterrestrial species that were at war with the shape-shifting Skrulls many thousands of years ago. The Kree feared that they could only win the war by creating a superhuman army, so they began to look for races that they could use as superhuman soldiers. One of those potential races were the humans of Earth, who had genetic potential for advancement. Kree Sentry 459 brought a team of Kree scientists to Earth who conducted some experiments on a group of humans. Their goal was to create Inhumans and one day use them as part of their army. The scientists left, but Kree Sentry 459 remained hidden on Earth to monitor and surveil Inhuman progress. When noteworthy Inhuman events occur, the Kree Sentry sends this data off to the Kree to keep them informed. I believe the sentry we're seeing in the game is Kree Sentry 459, and the pod that is fired off is a message to its Kree leaders. This could mean that we will see the Kree appear in future DLCs as an antagonist. My guess is that Ronan the Accuser could be a major villain that comes to Earth following the Kree Sentry's defeat. I think this because it's basically what happens in the comics. The Fantastic Four are made aware of the Kree Sentry and defeat it. When the Kree learn of its defeat, they send Ronan the Accuser to Earth. There is also a plotline where Yon-Rogg comes to Earth and is able to reactivate Sentry 459. Yon-Rogg also attempts to have the Kree Sentry defeat his adversary Mar-Vell, but as you'd expect, Mar-Vell wins. I bring up Mar-Vell because he was recently data mined as a playable DLC character. The same goes for Captain Marvel Carol Danvers, who we've seen a ton of Easter eggs for during the main game. Carol and Mar-Vell are often associated with the Kree, so their appearance in the game could potentially be saved for the Kree's invasion of Earth. This is all just my personal speculation, of course, but ultimately I think this Kree Sentry mid-credit scene is teasing a confrontation with the Kree in the near future. Monica even seems to suggest that she is expecting extraterrestrials of some kind to come to Earth someday. In a second, we'll listen to one intelligence file in particular, because I think it does a great job of summing up everything we've discussed today, including a tease of the Kree, why Monica wants to clone herself, and her overall motivations in the game.
I avoid intoxication. Social situations demand that I sometimes put on a show, but I am not in the habit of relinquishing control without getting something in return. That's out the window tonight. Just received the final report from the archaeology teams. Every geographic site we've linked to Inhuman origins shows the same signs. Unmistakably extraterrestrial. This changes things. If they've been here once. I've opened a bottle, locked the doors, and blacked out the security system long enough for me to sink into oblivion for an evening. I deserve it. I am so lonely. I don't need something so trite or squalid as companionship. What I need is the one thing I cannot have. Someone I can depend on. I'm so tired of doing this alone. I just need there to be more of me. I don't blame the rest of them for resisting what AIM must do. Not everyone can see what's coming. If they understood what I was doing and why, they would try to worship me. But no. They must be dragged, kicking and screaming into salvation. I accept that.
So it seems Monica is aware of a potential Kree invasion in the future, and I'm sure that knowledge will guide some of her future decisions. It'll definitely be interesting to see how everything plays out from here. But we shouldn't have to wait too long, as Kate Bishop's story releases at the end of October, with Clint's releasing in November. The main campaign was only the beginning, with the DLC stories continuing where the campaign left off. So we'll have plenty to discuss over the coming months. But I think that wraps up this video. If you're looking for more Marvel's Avengers content in the meantime, I have a podcast focused on the game, and I'll leave links for it in the description below. You can also join us on Discord if you're looking for people to play with online and discuss the game further. Anyone is welcome, and I hope to see you there. But until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
What the hell is that? Our guest finally agreed to help. Remember what's riding on this.
Easy, Doc. Deal's a deal. I'll do my part.